A knock at the door jolted Gregory from his thoughts. He glanced through the peephole and saw a man standing with a crate full of roses. His stomach dropped. Kimberly hadn't kept the flowers, but it didn't surprise him. He'd overdone it, hadn't he? He'd gone for the grand gestures when small ones would have had more meaning. With a sigh, he opened the door. "Yes?" Gregory asked, his voice heavy with fatigue. The florist, a tall man with a professional smile, set the first crate down at Gregory's feet. He wasn't done. He placed another, then another, until the foyer was filled with a small mountain of crates.
Ms. Davenport requested the delivery to the house.
The man said, his tone formal, but with a hint of sympathy. He handed Gregory a clipboard. "Mrs. Gregory," corrected the word slipping out before he could stop it. He winced. It had been years since he had to make such a correction. But then again, Kimberly could have introduced herself as Mibs. For all he knew, the thought left a bitter taste in his mouth, but he pushed it aside.
Sorry, Mrs. She did keep one, though. The one with the card.
The florist added, his expression shifting to something more hopeful. 12 crates, a dozen, full of roses. Gregory stared at them, feeling both guilt and a flicker of hope. She kept one. She could have discarded them all, trampled them underfoot like she had with their marriage. But one? That was something. Maybe she hadn't entirely given up on him. Yet, he turned back to the florist, trying not to show how the gesture, once meant to capture Kimberly's attention, was already starting to feel like a misstep. "Thank you. I'll handle the rest." He signed the clipboard absently, his thoughts already elsewhere. As the florist left, Gregory felt the weight of the roses pressing down on him. The over-the-top gesture, meant to show his love, now felt like a mistake. Kimberly was never one for grand gestures. She preferred simplicity, small vacations, quiet moments. He had heard her talk about those things for years, but somehow work always got in the way. He'd planned lavish trips, but each time, his obligations pulled him away. Now, those missed moments echoed in his mind, like failures he couldn't undo. He remembered one time saying, "Let's go, just the two of us. We'll spend the weekend in the penthouse. Strawberries, champagne, chauffeur service, it'll be fun." But she never wanted that. She preferred quiet time. He had always been too caught up in business. She had stopped mentioning her dreams of small getaways long ago, and he'd let it slide. What had he given her in return for everything she did for him, for their family? A paycheck and the occasional romantic gesture. Not nearly enough. His thoughts wandered back to their biggest fights, those about family vacations. Kimberly always made it a point to take the kids on their annual camping trips. She called it their reset week. The kids hated it at first. No technology, no screens, but by the end, they loved it. Gregory had planned to join them every year, but work always came first. And Kimberly was always there, holding everything together. He had failed her so many times. The realization was painful but undeniable. He had been a neglectful husband, taking advantage of a woman who had given him everything. The first step to solving any problem was admitting it. And Gregory was certain he had failed his wife, but it wasn't too late to fix it. He picked up the phone and made a few quick calls. It didn't take much to arrange an upgrade to Kimberly's hotel room or to book a stretch limousine to drive her around town for the week. Strawberries, champagne, chocolate fondue. It wasn't much, but it was something. He would show her how much he needed her, how much he had taken her for granted. But why had it taken him this long to realize it? His mind churned with the question, and with the uncomfortable realization that he had been too focused on his career and neglected the one person who mattered most. And how had he not seen the lie? Kimberly believed the one about him and another woman? He couldn't understand how it had happened, but he knew that his neglect had made it too easy for her to believe. He couldn't change the past, but he could make sure she knew he was fighting for her now. With that resolve, the weight of the roses seemed to lift from his shoulders. He had spent the morning hoping the flowers would bring Kimberly running back to him. That hope had evaporated quickly. Now he would focus on the next steps. Work was his only option. For now. He couldn't risk his children finding out the truth too soon. As for the person who had planted the seeds of doubt in Kimberly's mind, Gregory was certain they worked in his office. That person was close. He didn't know who yet, but he would find them. He needed answers. The phone call he had received from the mystery woman had come from one of the open lines in the building. Only 3 direct lines existed. The rest were extensions. Gregory was sure he could trace it back. It wouldn't be easy, but it was possible. He considered installing a camera, but the logistics were tricky. If word got out, the culprit would know. Gregory didn't have the luxury of time. It was a risk he had to take. He'd enlist Michael to help him monitor the phone lines and set a trap. They would wait for the right moment. But why? Why would anyone in his office want to hurt him like this? The betrayal felt personal. Someone who worked for him had deliberately set out to destroy his life. Gregory stared at the intercom and pressed the button. Emma, please bring me all the files on the employees we've hired in the last 5 years, both current and former. There was a slight pause before she responded.
Door slammed through them. Yes, sir?
He waited as Emma gathered the files. When she returned, she stacked them in front of him.
Door slammed through them. Can I help with anything else?
She asked. Emma had been his administrator for 20 years. Her loyalty was unquestionable, but Gregory couldn't involve her. Not in this. Thank you, Emma. You've been a great help. I'm not sure what I'm looking for yet, but I'll let you know if I need anything. He gave her a soft smile as he dismissed her. Once Emma left, Gregory began sorting through the files. The task felt daunting, but he knew he had to find the reason behind the betrayal. Who would want to destroy Kimberly like this? And why? The pile of involuntary terminations was small, a comfort to his pride. He started with the voluntary terminations, flipping through files and scrolling through social media. But there were no obvious red flags. Nothing stood out. Next, he moved on to the involuntary terminations. His hope waned as he found no useful information. The current employees were next. He sifted through the files, carefully determined to find something, anything that would explain what was happening. The person who poisoned Kimberly's mind needed to be found, and Gregory was determined to be the one to do it.